Hey everybody, we're on here with another Mod Live Talks today on this beautiful Thursday, about 6:30 right now, a little past 6:30. Was on the phone with a good buddy of mine, and kind of just going through everything, some changes for 2021. What's going on? Is the audio good? I have a fan on, so I don't know if you guys can hear that. Comment below if you guys, if the audio is good and everything like that. You see my camera in the background there, and things dialed. What's going on, Caesar? So yeah, I'm going to share this across to some of the other pages here, get our guest on that's coming on here very, very soon. And we're kind of share this across the interwebs, guys. So I'm gonna share it right now. Try and make sure that we don't have a problem. Audio's good to hear. All right, let me get this all started. Go see the comments. We're going to, what's going on, Frank? Share. I'm going to share this feed right now. All right. Right, everybody's going to hate me because I'm sharing it across like all the fifth scale pages. Oh, I shouldn't have shared it to Cypress Community Group. Whatever. Bear with me here, guys. We have a couple things to go over. We've got the new schedule that was updated a while ago, but we never caught it online. Everybody kind of knew. Okay, it didn't go on that. Cool. Everybody kind of already knew what was going on with the updated flyer. If you guys have not seen it yet, you can probably look up above, look down below. We'll be updating it real soon. You can see my my awesome. You see my Photoshop skills right there. It's pretty doll. So pretty doll. I had to update some dates there. Ended up being we were a week earlier than that, but it was a little bit close to Delta, as well as it's actually my cousin's wedding, and I'm part of the wedding, so I have to be to that. It's like once in a lifetime, and I think it's beer o'clock for those people out there. So some changes is we updated, of course, the 4th round. For Good Old Boys, we were taking off July and August. So we had 2 free months there. So we were able to fit in Good Old Boys Raceway. That is in Bakersfield, California. So that's in about 3 weeks' time there. And then the other change that we had is we were going to go to Adelanto. But since they don't really run year-round and it's kind of up in that area, and with the whole COVID thing going on, we needed to reschedule. SoCal Nitro Raceway, they always are running there. So we definitely want to support those tracks, and so we have them as the finals in November. So should be some pretty cool little updates there. If you guys need it, you can download it off the page. It's printer friendly, all in white. We will be running 8 scale at the events as well. We ended up doing that at Flier Farm, which went great. Let me get Chris Higa in here in a second. We're gonna look at that. Chris Higa got the monster.
That's right.
There we go.
Juice.
So let's kind of go through the updates for these guys, Chris. Let me see if I can add. I don't know, my little banners on the side here. I did have Horizon up last time, and then I'm like, and then before this thing, I deleted the logo, so I don't even know if I have it here right now. So it is what it is, if so. Yeah. But it's TLR. He's got it right on his shirt there. He's got it all dialed in. If you guys don't know who this is, it's Chris Higa from TLR, project manager, guru, fast guy. He's still one up on me for I can't pass him cleanly for the races. He's still Higa 1, Matt 0. I still won the race, but I did not win the battle. So so he got that one on me. So we're going through the schedule here. We have the updated schedule, Chris. In 3 weeks' time, we're going to be at Good Old Boys. I'm sure you'll be there if possible. And then we got Central Valley Raceway. That stayed the same in September 18th to 20th. And then the finals will be after the, I believe, the Flier Farm Monster Cross. And then there's the West Coast Nationals. And then a couple weeks after that, we'll have the finals for the Mod Fifth Scale Championship Series. So I know this whole Corona thing has had a lot of people we've been all over the place with the schedule. I hope that we don't have any problems now that kind of California is locking back down again. We'll see how that goes. You guys will know what's going on. But just kind of to update you that those are the new dates. Everything is updated on the page and everything like that. So I brought Chris on right now. Chris and I, we've been friends for many, many years. Fierce rivals in fifth scale. We think a lot alike, and he's like the main dude at Horizon for fifth scale. I'm obviously the main dude at Mod, so and running this series. So I always like to bounce ideas off of Chris, see his constructive criticism on what we're doing, and it's always good when you have a sounding board. So I gave Chris a call. About a new way, kind of a hybrid way, I would say, of doing our races. As many people know, in a lot of different forms of racing, it's just one class. So it's one class, you put everybody together. So, for instance, you don't have a deviation on pro, expert, sportsman, beginner, what have you. All these, if you're running truck, you're running truck. If you're running buggy, you're running buggy. That's just how it is. That's how they do it in Europe. That's how they do it in many different places. America seems to be where we differentiated on personal, I would say, of what you think that you are, of level.
That was pretty politically correct.
What's that?
That was pretty politically correct.
It was pretty politically correct. So we have where our classes are deviated either on, you go by like, okay, who are you sponsored by? What races did you win? And arbitrarily where you are as far as what you think. But there's always outliers. We've had guys, and this goes in every class, and it's not their fault. It really isn't. So we have where some guys are in classes they shouldn't be in, whether they're in sportsman, they should be an expert, whether they're in sportsman, they should be in pro, whether they're in pro, they need to be in sportsman. So we've got this, got this issue, and I'm not saying it's for everybody, but there's always, I would say, a good, 5 to 10 guys that could go between those levels at any given race. And what this is doing to us is at many different events, we never know who's going to the event. We don't know if there's enough people to even fill out that class. And since we're only getting, let's say, even 40 trucks out there, because generally our events have, on average, what would you say, Chris, 50 to 100 entries, I would say is a good average?
I'd say on average, we're probably... Yeah, you're probably 80 to 100 entries, and you figure that's actually 50 drivers. Most guys run 2 classes. Some guys get crazy Ironman and used to run 3, but usually you're 40 to 50 drivers. Somewhere 70, 80 guys probably average. Bigger events we can get over 100.
Yeah, most definitely. So with that, and we're talking about buggy, we're talking about truck, and we're talking about 2-wheel drive and beginner. So beginner class has always been, we'll be working out some of that. So run what you brung. Those guys are just starting out. So we have a plan for them, but this is mainly for the 90% of us that are putting ourselves in these classes. And we have at many different times where I've heard from different racers, oh, I'm really fast at that track. I hear that from my buddy Mike Duncan all the time. Oh man, I'm really good at CBR, but real wide open tracks, sometimes I falter. Or, you know, a lot of us, me myself, I'm better on big wide open tracks, you know, really hammering down,
smooth,
getting it, you know, I'm getting it. And sometimes I falter at other ones. Same thing goes with a lot of us. So sometimes at different tracks you have different skill levels, and either your truck's working really well or it's not. So in my viewpoint, and it's always been where since we all have the same vehicles, realistically it's a four-wheel drive truck, the times should speak for themselves. So they've done this up at Delta. We were talking about it with a couple buddies of mine after the race at Delta, because what brought this upon our thinking, what brought it to light, is if you guys go back to the last event when we had in Antioch, due to a turn marshal situation where we didn't have enough people in the expert buggy class and the pro buggy class. We were having problems with marshals and not getting out there and marshaling. That's a whole separate issue. But realistically, the issue was we needed 6 to 7 guys to marshal the track. And we couldn't get 3 or 4 volunteers because there was only about 4 or 5 guys in expert and in pro. So when both of those classes were back to back, we were having a major issue. So for the third round of qualifying and for the mains, we ended up putting both the experts and the pros together. So what that did for us is it gave us a full group. It gave us 9 guys. And what it kind of showed is we had 2 or 3 top level experts that were pulling pro times and that were doing pro everything. They could have podiumed. And we're like a couple of the pro guys were in the lower classes, or would have been lower even in the experts. So this does a couple things. One is like basically what we want to do, guys, is we want to make one big class but with divisions. So what this is going to be is for 2021, we still got to iron some things out, obviously, and with your guys' inputs as well and constructive criticism. A hybrid of what's already done everywhere else. We have one big class, and then we sort it into divisions. So I talked with Chris about this. Chris brought up a lot of good different ideas depending on seating, depending on what kind of issues there may be, and I'll let him jump in here and give his ideas real quick. But basically, to finish my thoughts on it, is you would have 3 separate divisions. Almost these divisions would kind of be pro, expert, and sportsman if you really want to think about it. You would have your top 8 guys. So what you do is you run the first qualifier. Your first qualifier is your sorting qualifier. That would sort you into, and it's best 2 out of 3. That would sort you into your next 2 qualifiers. So it puts you with the guys that you're with the speed, that have the same kind of speed. So then that would put you in your divisions per se. So you'd have Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, and then you can go even Division 4, Division 5, Division 6, kind of like A, B, C, D, E mates. It's the same type of thing, but you have trophies for your top 3 divisions. So what you do is when you stop qualifying, so you take your top 8 guys, that's Division 1. And then you take your next 8, that's Division 2. You take your next 8, and so far and so forth. So let's say you're in Division 2. Let's say you bump up from Division 2. Your top 2 guys in Division 2. There's 2 bumps from each division. You take those top 2, you put them into Division 1. The Division 2 guys, they still get the trophies from Division 2. If they don't podium, it gives them a chance to race with better caliber guys. And if they podium in that one, then they forfeit their Division 2 trophy and they get a Division 1 trophy. Now, how does this work with points overall? We would do this for every race leading up until the very finals. At the finals, we would take your points, and everybody has the same points. It'd be like 1 through 30. You take those points, and then you end up deviating where you need to be with however many points that those guys have that qualified for the finals or what it is. Then you end up cutting those of where they're at, and then they're situated into those divisions, and that would be pro, expert, and sportsman. So that would give you a good data graph of where these guys should be overall. And then this would totally eliminate the issue of where we don't have enough people in the class, and where, I don't like the word, but sandbag. So you would eliminate all those issues, put people where they are within their specific skill levels, and let it all lie out there on the racetrack. I'll toss it over to he here. He probably has some things and constructive criticisms on what he would do, but these are just thoughts, guys. I really want your guys' input and to see how we can make this better for the racing, for the media part of it. We've been doing the live media, and we're going to have awesome racing going forward into 2021.
Well, I think Matt's onto something, because like he said, the one thing that we fail is sometimes the A main events aren't full in the expert or pro classes. Like you said, you run out of marshals or not, but if you want to have a good race or something that people will want to watch, it needs to be a full heat. When there's a full heat of 8 or 10 cars, there's a lot more things going on for people to watch. So in that respect, I definitely do think it's better. The big thing, like we talked about, would be you go through your first round of qualifying, and that's your seeding round, and then we do a resort. So that's something that everybody would have to learn is, hey, after the first round, the heat sheets are going to get reposted again, and you're going to be grouped now into your seeded qualifying rounds for the second and third round of qualifying. They won't continue to change. They'll only change one time. The one thing that will also make it interesting, like in Fear Farm, I had problems in truck. I could not, I just made mistakes or broke the truck, and had a really rough round of qualifying. Like, I probably would have been deep in the field if we were all in one class. That almost makes it an interesting thing too, is you have pro guys that sometimes get the luxury of, okay, it's like I broke. And I wasn't ever worried about going, hey, do I need to fix my car? No, I can keep working on these other people's cars and whatnot, which is what we should be doing. But it would have been interesting if it's okay, now you got to be in the D, and you have to sit there and you got to race 20 minutes to make it to the main.
I think that's something cool what you're bringing up is qualifying now counts again, because we're not doing if we're even going to make it into, what position am I going to be in? That's where we're qualifying right now, because what position am I in the main? That's all, because we just don't have enough trucks. Now it's going to be, am I even going to make division A here, I need to be on top of my game. And I think that's something that will add another level of not only seriousness, but as well as hey, I need to do well in qualifying here, because I need to make sure I'm up there. It's going to make you try. And I had mentioned I was talking to Randall Morrow from Fear Farm earlier today, and he's like, you know what, man? He goes, I think that's also a good idea, because of the fact that it's no fun for me, because even he's like, sometimes I would say Randall spreads between the lines. I think Randall's like a sportsman expert. He's a fast sportsman, but he's like, sometimes, Matt, I'm 2 laps up on these guys. Or he goes to Worlds and he's in the C main. So it's one of those things where Randall at my event will be most likely mid-pack, Division 2, but he might be at another track. He might be top level Division 1, or Division 3, depending on the track that he's at and stuff like that. So like what you're saying, I think it'll add another level, and it'll make these guys where, hey, this is against everybody here. I got to be on my game to come out to these things, because I want to place as high as I can place, during all of these. And then it really pits. It really takes our classes from 10 into 40,
I see a comment from Jake Alton. I almost kind of like his thing with the LCQ, like what they used to do at the West Coast Nationals. That would be the 11th guy in the main, as long as it fits on the driver's stand of the 5-lap shootout of the guys that were in that Division 2B main, of the 2 dudes that didn't bump, you get 1 shot, 5 laps. It's all you're worried about is who's in the lead at the end of the 5th lap, gets the last spot into the main. So that's kind of that, hey, you get 1 last shot, because you could have been like the dude that bumped from the D or the E. His car's a little clapped out, breaks it in the B. He's like, oh, I got to thrash and fix it. He's got a 5-lap shootout still, and he has a shot.
And that's something to, talk about with Jake Alton had mentioned there. And it's one of those things, too, where I'm even thinking of a hybrid within a hybrid, where, like, let's say, okay, we're at Worlds or something like that. Obviously, there might be pros realistically that go, 20 deep. You might have sportsmen that are another 30 deep. So they're going to say, oh, well, you're only taking the top 8 guys. So I've even thought about, okay, well, however many guys that there are, you split them up into 3. Okay? If you have, like, let's say, like what Jake Alton's saying is an LCQ, it might be something where if there's 60 guys or something like that, we might break it up into the Division 1 is the first 20. And those guys, and then the next 20 is Division 2, then the next 20 is Division 3. So then you can almost do it where that is the last chance qualifier for those guys. I'm just spitting ideas here. I could be wrong.
If we're going to do it like that, then you end up running it where IFMAR. You have an odd and an even main, right?
Could, yeah.
So basically the 1 and 2 qualifiers aren't racing each other. It's kind of like even like seating practice and Supercross. The top qualifier for his seating lap isn't in the same qualifier as the guy in second, right? They're in Heat 1 and Heat 2. So
we have John Ingold here. Sorry to cut you off, Chris. Will the transfers get time to look over their stuff? Politically correct. PC on here. All you can read. It's yes, you would. So we would divide it, because then you'd have buggies and you'd have trucks. And we give guys that 20-minute increment or 15-minute increment to refresh their rigs if they need to, fill it all up, take a breather. And since we would have packed classes, guys, the top 2 would not have to marshal. They can get their stuff ready for their next one. Because now that we have these filled classes, we only usually need, 6 to 8 guys to do a track. So those top 2 other dudes that were in there, they now are able to have the time to be able to do that. And I think that's one of the biggest issues.
I'm going to sandbag from the D, and I'll never have to turn marshal.
You'll just always just keep bumping up. Well, yeah. We'll see Chris's thing here.
That's going to be my new strategy. Oh my gosh, that would be so horrible. My stuff would be.
We have Matthew Speed here. Matthew Speed, one of our buddies out on the East Coast. Silly question, but with the current, what's the difference between pro and expert?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. Some honestly, I'll let Chris answer this question. Chime in if I need to.
The expert guys can run can run the pace of a pro lap. The pro driver will do it for 20 minutes. The expert driver can run that pace, but they don't have the consistency to be there. They have the speed, but it's the consistency to constantly maintain that speed. That's mainly where I see the differences, because a fast expert sometimes will put down a faster hero lap than a pro guy. I mean,
I agree with Chris, on what he's saying on what the differentiation is as a person, but as far as I think he might look for the qualifications right off the bat, who's a pro and who's an expert, and I would probably say it's still down to times and what the people think that they are, and that's where the issue lies of why we're even having this conversation. Because one of the things is within fifth scale, and within the hobby in general, is everybody wants to. That might be pretty mean, but everybody wants to feel special. Everybody wants to be in their own realm of where everybody wants to be a big fish in a little pond, where they're like, okay, I'm competitive. People want to be competitive. That's what it is. People want to be competitive. They want to be with the people that they think that they're as fast as. But that's where the issue lies, is we always have a couple guys that could be in a different class. And when you kind of get this post haste, afterwards, where, me as a race, promoter, Chris as one of the main guys out there for TLR as well, and, helping me in soundboarding, guys come to us and they see us and they say, hey, this guy's going really, really fast. You need to bump him up. But they're coming to us after the qualifying's already done. We never even saw anything. They're telling us once the mains have been posted. It's really difficult for us to be able to move that person. And where do you draw the line? Because sometimes a guy that qualifies in Sportsman, he might have been top 5 in expert, but it's hard for us. And then once the mains are posted, it'll bump out somebody that was in expert that maybe should have been, that already knew he was in there. So it makes it really difficult on us and on the racers when people come to us late, as well as doing everything in live time to switch these people around. Can be a couple hour issue. Like, no joke. You have to go in there, take all their times from everything, recategorize them back in there. It's a huge pain in the butt. It's not fun at all. So this will help alleviate all those issues and really put people where they need to be.
I'm sorry. I saw a comment from Peanut. I'm gonna give Peanut a runner ride so he can bump from the Sportsman class.
Please do. Where's Peanut on here? I didn't even see him. I didn't even see him unless he's messaging you.
No, it's in the live comment.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Let me see. There you go. Yeah. Travis Mescu, a super fast guy, probably one of the biggest jokesters that I know. Chris, when are you going to let me try a rent-a-ride, but I'll race Sportsman? Yeah, exactly. Peanut, you'd automatically be in the unobtainium class. We just give you your trophy already. You're just that quick, buddy.
Yeah, that'll be funny.
Let me see if we have some comments here. Keep going, Chris. Keep going on what you're thinking.
I mean, some of the other things, too, that, when we talk about some of these things, how these classes break up and stuff like that, it's a lot more to just, you want to, like Matt's saying, you want to put on a better show, and honestly, when we all started racing, and you went to a national, I think the first Nitro national I went to, I think I was in like the, I don't know, H or F main, something like that. And I was pretty stoked that I bumped from, I think, the H to the F or E in gas truck. I was like, hey, that's not too bad. That got me into the top 60 or whatever it was. I mean, but back then it was 120, 130 trucks. So you're going, hey, I'm in the top half. But those are the, it will eventually make for better racing. It'll be a little bit of growing pains, and some people won't like it. Some people, will, unfortunately decide that they don't want to race anymore. But others will like it because, when you sit there and go, dude, I outqualified Higa, I outqualified Olsen, I outqualified Enriquez or Bisbee or Sullivan. The guys that people would just go, oh, look, those guys are all pretty fast most of the time, and go, hey, he's in the C. Sorry about his luck. He's got to figure it out now. I mean, and like I said, there's a lot of guys like that. It will make for better racing. It'll make them faster. They always want to go in practice when you're trying to test something. So like now it's actually racing.
No, most definitely. We had another gentleman on here, I believe, David Sandine. Use an algorithm based on qualifying and practice times to categorize. The only problem with that, buddy, is a lot of us don't even practice.
Wow.
And then a lot of people can't even be there on Friday of when they do practice. And where do we draw the line on it? I think, and people get faster throughout their runs as they progress. So you really want to do it on the entirety whole of the event going into the mains rather than something that is, a day and a half before the mains, basically.
Well, kind of using that logic, back when we did the Chase series, when we would sit there and do that stuff, I literally sat with Tosh and Kevin before the series started of all the people that would pre-register and sign up for the race for the first race, we sat around the kitchen table, and it was okay. How most of the guys I know or have heard of or seen drive, and literally we would spend 3, 4, 5 hours sitting around the table, and I would literally rank and classify every single driver. There's going to be 10 guys I don't know, and whatever class they signed up for, that's where we would have put them. But that would be the other thing is, I'm horrible about pre-signing up for match races and registering on. I just tell them when I'm coming. But having that and having that list, that would be the other thing. If we left the classes alone, you'd sit there and be like, hey, when those guys signed up, you're like, hey, this guy at the last race, you're going, no, he's can't run in this class. And when you set the class, you're going, he's already in the correct class when he gets there. Regardless of what he signed up for, you're going, hey, man, based on your times and what we've seen, this is the class you need to run it. Based on how you're categorized.
Oh, look, I just got you a Horizon logo. Dialed. Added it. Yeah, I think, what you're exactly saying is it takes the guessing game out of it. And truthful, like you said, you might be 10 guys, for the 90%, you're going to hit it nail on the head. You're like, okay, I know that guy. But what about for the new guy? What about the guys coming in? Like you said, guys that you just don't know. And It's all arbitrary. It's even for the 90% that you have, it's arbitrary of where you're putting those guys. You're like, okay, I have a feeling that he goes here. And that's what we all do right now. And I think it's wrong.
90% of those guys, you'll probably get right. There'll be 4 or 5 guys that are on the verge, and like at the Chase Series, literally, I'll give you a prime example. So I think it was the last year, or the second to last year of the Chase Series, and it was Andy Muchnick. He was like, I'm going to run expert. Well, it's one of those things where we always told the guys, hey, if you finish in the top 3 of the class, you basically, if you win, you have to go up. But if you finish in the top 3 of the class, we recommend you go up to the next class. And, like Andy was kind of in that top 5 range, and he's like, I'm going to race expert. I literally pulled him aside, had a conversation. I said, part of running the fifth scale is learning how to finish the races, because that's most people's detriment with running large scale cars, is they don't finish because they can't keep the car together. The racecraft side of it isn't learned because they're trying to go as fast as they can, and what happens is sometimes they have a good race, sometimes they don't. And like I literally had to have the conversation. You can run at the back of the expert class, or you can have one more year to season yourself and try and win the championship in sportsman because you were top 5. Where those you almost give that, you talk to that guy and you go, you kind of have to give him the best, where do you want to be?
Yeah, for sure.
But like I said, that would put a lot of the weight upon me and you to be able to know which guys are there. And some of it is a new guy comes in and you're going, hey, I know this guy races 10th scale or he races 8th scale. You're going, yeah, he probably shouldn't be running sportsman. He's running expert.
Oh, sure. We had some constructive criticism here. Ronnie Smith, one of our guys out of Bakersfield. There are more guys just learning than you pro and experts. If you want to kill the sport, take away our little pond. I think you might be misunderstanding, Ronnie, depending on it. Basically, what this is going to do is it will classify everybody of where they need to be in the grand scheme of things. If you'd be in Division 3, you would qualify in Division 3 as it is. If you're in another race, or let's say we only have, a certain level of guys, you might be in Division 2 for that weekend. So what it's going to do is, because we never know how many people we're going to get. We never know what skill levels we're going to get. And when we end up having these really small divisions of classes, whether it's pro, expert, sportsman, you always have where you have outliers. You've got guys that shouldn't be in the classes that they're in. And that goes for both ways. And what this will do is it'll make it so throughout qualifying and everything, it's going to put you in the realm that you need to be for your main events, as well as there'll be trophies for Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3. So there's already trophies. You're going to be, and that could almost be kind of considered the sportsman level. But it's going to effectively give you more competition, and it's going to make you race with guys that are your speed at the end of the day. Whether they had signed up in expert previously and they're slow at this track, you might be faster. So it's going to push you as a driver to be better. So hopefully that kind of explains it for you.
Well, and the other thing too is I know some guys sit there and think, hey, when we break up these divisions, the lower the mains get, they would always be shorter. At this point in time, then we would probably have to do something like I was telling Matt is we modify the mains. All the mains from Division 2 down are 20 minutes long. They're the same amount. So you still get the same amount of track time as anybody else running. 3 qualifiers plus your main event, unless you bump. And the Division 1 will be a 30-minute race. You know, that'll be the only one that requires a fuel stop. You know, but that will make the racing better because now you're, like Matt said, you're racing with guys that are the same speed. So you don't get 3 guys that checked out and are gone.
Exactly.
You know, as cool as it sounds to hear the announcer talk about, he's got the Chick Hearn, Scotty Ernst, you know, he's checked out and gone, you know, just, you know, you want to be able to call a battle at any level.
That's for sure. And and like what Chris is saying, I don't know if you guys can see, I got my major camera set up right there. Chris, I just invested in another one. I got dosed of these now.
Oh, man.
We're gonna be full ESPN here soon enough.
Pretty much, you're saying you're gonna want me to help you again.
Yes, you're gonna be a cameraman on the next ones, Chris. So we got 2 of these now, guys. So Mod Live Media, we're gonna be doing it up big, giving RC and Fifth Scale some more coverage. So and that's what it is. Just looking back there, guys. With Mod Live Media, I'm trying to give Fifth Scale a fighting chance in the community here. Because we do not get the coverage that 8 scale and 10 scale enjoys. It's just, it's a reality. We have less people to bring out that kind of coverage is just not possible. So we do it ourselves. So that's how Mod Live Media got started. Thanks, Chris Higa. Get me in a biscuit. Yeah. So anyways, but spending all this kind of money right now, and to Jake McGarvey for hitting me up saying we need more camera angles, Matt. So I'm like, all right, let me drop a couple $1,000s to get more camera angles.
I think me and you just need to mount live GoPros in so we can Wi-Fi those things in.
It's all work on it. It's all right. That's what I was talking to him about earlier today. He came up with that. Now, don't believe me, Chris. I might be saying, hey, Chris, I need about a $600 investment from you, and I'll get you a live camera in your car.
And for me, my camera's going to be facing backwards so I can show exactly how I block.
It's how you block me as you're going through.
Yeah.
But believe me, it's coming, Chris. It's coming. So, yeah, it's the main thing here, guys, is that for us to have better coverage, for us to put people in their right classes, and for us to have full level of heat. So it's honestly, I've been in classes many times where I'm the only pro that's there. You know, Chris doesn't show up. A couple of these other guys don't show up, you know, and there's me, you know, and or a couple things in expert. There's a couple expert guys. We need to be able to mix these things up, and we need to put guys where they belong overall. So this goes across the board. And for everything, if we always had a world's level event or a finals level event, it would never be an issue. But even at the worlds, at the finals, you always have guys that are in classes that they shouldn't be in, whether it's at that track or whether everywhere else. But what this is effectively going to do is it will, and you're only going to be in those for like the first 4 or 5 events until the finals. So then at the finals, then we have a good list of points of where you are. And then we'll end up, you know, making the cut at those. And then for those, we'll qualify you for the final overall of whether you're in each class and if you can compete at each of those. So it's a good qualification for what you're going to be in at the end. And it's really going to separate us of where we need to be solely based on how we're doing at each and every event.
Well, the other thing, too, is if you want to make it really interesting, we can do like Lucas Oil stuff and you invert the grid for, you know, You're going, hey, if you want to see the fast guys, if they're truly fast, we invert the grid. The guy that qualifies 10th starts on the pole, and then you go, okay, well, let's make it interesting. Can these guys actually get to the front? Versus do something crazy like a Supercross start where it's just chaos. But I mean, that is okay, well, these are the fast guys, which would probably be the 3 or 4, 5 legitimate pro guys. So if you inverted the grid, then you have those 4 or 5 experts.
I like that. No, that's cool. And that's something we all, it's there's a lot of different things that we can go forward with, like Chris is saying here, and do some new things up to kind of change it up. We had something here from Mr. Joey Tynes Jr., Joey Fango, Joey something. He's always got a different name on here on Facebook. So Joey out of Deer Farm, he's always in jail for Facebook jail. So your average lap times would determine your class for that specific event. Not, I guess, yes and no. Your average lap times of what you are in a qualifier. Not totally. But no, not really, Joey. It would be your qualification. So you'd still have your best 2 out of 3 to qualify you, because even if you have fast average laps, if you're not consistently fast, you shouldn't really belong in those higher classes, because obviously you're crashing and everything like that. So I would say yes and no to your answer, but basically it would just be how we have it now, but you'd be qualifying into each division with your full qualifying round, because you should be, even if it's kind of tortoise in the hare, even if you're super fast for a couple laps, you still need to be consistent throughout that entire qualification.
I mean, and like you said, because everybody's not there, like it would be one of those things where you go, hey, we're going to run a seeding round of just fast lap. If you want to do it that way on Friday night, just kind of like Supercross. That's why they have qualifying during the day. The top 40 guys get into the night show, right? Or 40 guys and then the 4 alternates. But that seeds the guys into the heats. That would get you into where you at that point in time, then you may not break up, have to redo the resort. So there's 2 ways we could potentially do it, but not everybody.
Exactly. And this doesn't have to be the final, guys. This is just, kind of what we're putting out there, what we're thinking for 2021. We have John Ingold here. This has the potential to make us all better. By putting us with faster people will get us faster ourselves. Yeah, and that's, the kind of attitude that you need towards this, because it will. And I've seen this, like Ray Gray out of Victorville had told me, when he raced with the pro guys, he had an epiphany right there. I could see it in his face. He's like, it's like, man, I can kind of roll with these dudes. Same thing with Ronnie. He's like, man, I can roll with these guys, and it's one of those things where it's not only going to put you with the faster guys, it's going to give you more confidence, and you're going to now see what these faster guys are potentially doing for laps. You're going to start looking at them more. You've already and you kind of size up the competition. Everybody does it at every event that you go to. Well, now you got to size up another 30 dudes, and see where they're at. You're going to see a lot more competition come out of this.
Well, and we're talking, it's 2 rounds of qualifying, so consistency does count. Where it's not just a rocket round. Because all of us can get lucky. It happens.
Yeah.
So you're rewarding the guy that's consistently fast to make the show, and that's definitely something that is gonna help us help everybody get faster. Because like they always say, you're as fast as the guys you practice with, right?
No, that's 100% true. We had another comment from Matthew Speed, the longest one. It blocks Chris's face. If you sit up a little bit, Chris, you could probably get past this. Let me see, get up here too. Racing with better racers will definitely make you a better racer. Some of the best races we ever had at Mammoth, which was on the East Coast back in the day, was when we just put everyone on the track, 10 trucks, rubbing fenders was awesome. Way better than 3 or 4 grinding for 20 minutes with someone up 3 laps. Yeah, most definitely, Matt. And this will help that. 100%. It'll help with the Marshall issue. Across the board, I think it'll be a better situation than we have now, because we've been doing this time and time again. I think this whole deviation, at least on the West Coast, for years and years. We haven't really had any differentiation because I don't know if this is just how we've done it, and we just haven't tried to we haven't really found a better way to be able to satisfy everybody's, wants and needs here. And I think this will do something to that effect. Let me see. Charlie here up at Delta. Well, he's just giving Darwin some crap, so I won't put that up. Let me get here. Mike Duncan, one of our good buddies out of Riverside there. Mike is a very good example. Going to level the playing field, and it will definitely get rid of sandbaggers in classes because it will show the true speed of everybody. Yeah, exactly, Mike. And Mike's one of those guys where he's super fast on some tracks like CVR, which he mentioned up above, but he might be slower at other ones, maybe at Bakersfield or maybe, Fear Farm or something like that. But Mike and all the others will be in the spot where they need to be, going into it. But you can still have that ability to get your trophies, to get those points for the finals. I think it'll really deviate guys.
What's another thing though is half of our racing is the social aspect of it, right? With us camping, and we all like to have a few drinks, and we all talk a bunch of crap to each other. That's just how racers are. We like to bench race, and hey, your finish at the prior race, it gives you bragging rights until the next race.
No, most definitely. We have Joey Tynes here, Joey Fiengo. I don't know what to call him right now. Pretty much everyone wants track time racing with the guys in their division. Racing with faster guys will make you better. Yeah, so it's just this is going to put the guys of where they're at in that specific track. So I think it'll be pretty cool. Let me see here. Mike, in-car cameras would be the shit.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking about it. I've already spent some coin, and I'll probably be spending Chris's money once I end up getting dialed. I'm going to be like, hey, dude, just take out a small loan with me, and we'll get you in-car camera. So just have TLR sponsor. We'll put a little TLR sticker on it. It'll be dialed.
I need it on the header thing for the screen. So in an in-car camera view, it's got the little TLR logo on it.
Little TLR logo, paid. That's paid. So we're working on it. Right now, I'm getting some stuff to try and make it possible. Let me see if we have any more questions from guys. See Daniel Fry popping in here. Just want to have fun. Yeah, Daniel Fry was one of our guys that at Fear Farm we ended up. Daniel Fry's quick. He's coming up very, very fast, and he ended up bumping up from expert into pro. And I think Daniel's a really good representation of what it can be, where I would say Daniel is ballistically fast. He was 1 second off of me. He was beating Chris at Fear Farm, just going unbelievably fast at Fear Farm, but he might be slower at Bakersfield, or another track might not be his, but he's faster at other ones. So Daniel Fry, super fast guy out of Vegas.
What happens when you're locked down in Vegas and can't go anywhere?
I know, right? So Daniel Fry's a really good example. Super nice guy, very fast. Picked up a little sponsorship. His wife is super fast. His wife is another good example. She started out in beginner, and she put 2 laps up on the dudes, and I'm like, you can't be in beginner anymore. You're crushing these guys, but now she's getting 4th, 3rd, 2nd. So she's now.
I think she made the podium in Arizona, and I think she almost made the podium, right?
Dude, she crushed it. Yeah, she almost made the podium. She was 4th until the last lap, and she crashed, and she got 5th. Let me see here.
Jessica, he's not fast.
We have David Nazaro. I'm butchering your last name, David. We need some help on the East Coast with our racing scene. What help, if any, can you guys offer to support the growth of the sport in our general area? David, it really starts at the track level, in all honesty. I would say that Chris and myself were real active with the racing scenes out here. I would say both of us are real active with the 2 main tracks that run 5th scale year round, which is Bakersfield and Fear Farm. And then we end up going to a lot of the other tracks around here. That'd be, most of the year they're doing a lot of 8 scale, but they do mix 5th scale in. But with the whole series that we do with Mod, we go there once a year to these other tracks like CVR, like Delta, some of these other tracks that we do have. We did Wild West last year. And the main goal of going to these other tracks is and when we travel, is to get club racing going, because club racing in its own little pocket, when you go a couple hours away, if you can get club racing going at each of these tracks, you can facilitate a culture and a racing group where then they can build and grow and go to different tracks. So that's kind of the point of the Mod series, and why we go to these different tracks, and why I want guys to travel is because it ends up, in my eyes, hopefully, it'll end up culturing a club racing scene there where they get club racing going, and it will build the community. So for you, from what I would say, is try and talk to some of these 8 scale tracks that already have it. They can, well, obviously we've done Delta, we've done CVR, we've done a lot of these facilities. All that you got to do is you can't bottleneck the corners. You got to make them wider lanes perceptually as well. You can just move the pipes just wider. Don't have it going to 90-degree corners. Have where you can get with some of these 8 scale tracks that you might have out there, where you can talk to them, because both 8 scale, I've run on plenty of tracks. Delta ran on the same track that was our 8 scale track. We changed a couple of jumps and a couple of corners, and it was a 5th scale 8 scale track, and it was awesome. Everybody loved it. I was pulling the same times as Jermaine, one of their fastest guys out there in 8 scale. I was 1 second off between his 8 scale of him in pro and me in pro 5th scale. 1 second in a qualifier. So they're identical in speed. You just can't bottleneck the cars. And it did not destroy the track. And we worked on the track. If there were any sort of areas where it was gaining ruts, like after the high speed straightaway, we ended up all braking, and it was creating ruts and clipping the cars, but we were working on the track. So, and I think we had 2 pipes come up. So there's a stigma within the community that 5th scales destroy tracks, and they don't. As long as you build a proper track, and Chris Higa knows very much about that. He built the 5th scale track out of Flier Farm. 8 scales around that. We had a very successful run. We had Mayfield out there. We had Rivkin.
If we didn't finish so late, I was looking forward to me and you battling Ryan and Spencer.
I know, we had it, and all those guys had an awesome time. So this stigma that 5th scales and 8 scales cannot be on the same track needs to end, and it needs to end right now, because we're proving that. We're making a point of it, and we're running all this, and we're now mixing 8 scales in, of having like a little club race during the 5th scale events, and we're getting these guys out there and we're having them check it out. So try and get with the 8 scale crew, get a good group of guys together, see what you can do, and that is the best advice that I can give you. And I travel, Chris travels. If we can get enough guys out of the track where we know where we can make a difference for our companies, then we'll be out there to support you during the year. So it's culturing that, and it's getting people into the community and getting that stigma out of it, and racing at some of these other tracks that might help you, because at some points I would say there's one track that survives on just doing 5th scale alone. I want to say that's Bakersfield. Flier Farm, I would say they're about 75% that. They're getting a lot more 8 scale guys now, but theirs is also all on 5th scale, but that's only 2 tracks. And that's where they're culturing and doing it week in and week out. And that's where they have all of our help from manufacturers. So if you can get in and just say, hey, to an 8 scale style where they're doing club racing out there, get a 5th scale class going out there. Start to do it, work with them. You really have to do that, and we'll support. We'll send goodies out there. I'll sponsor it. I'm sure TLR will help out. If it gets big enough, and we can make that possible. But it's just culturing that type of community.
I think one thing too is that if guys are wondering if the 8 scales and 5th scales can run on the same track, go look at some of the video from the second round at Flier Farm. And you watch Ryan, Spencer, Tanner, and Camden freight training around the track, but then you get the next day, we're doing the same thing. That's definitely one of those things where, there's ways to build tracks that are fun that are 5th scale friendly, and fun to race A scale on. Because I know, like, basically a fifth scale track is a really easy A scale track to run on, but it makes for good racing because the lanes are wide, the landings are big, and they're not worried as much of, okay, I have to hit this section so I can go triple, 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 or, you know, it's not technical.
And most definitely, in what you're saying is it's a little bit more mellow for them. But all the fifth scales can do what the eight scales do. They just need more room to maneuver and don't have jumps coming out of a 90-degree turn. You know, that's basically it. As long as you can keep up their momentum, they will do every jump, I promise you, that an eight scale will do. We've seen that at Adelanto, you know, where the big jump in the back that we had, the big booter jump, eight scale guys were struggling. Fifth scale guys, we had more weight behind us, and we were like skying that thing. So yeah, it was without the wind. And so they're able to do, you know, everything that an eight scale is able to do. They just need the proper track to be built and or modified to be able to do it. And I think that's something that we need to get into to be able to do that kind of racing. We had Brent Ashton Jr. He's been joining us at a couple of events now. I think he's getting all into it. He's from SoCal Nitro Raceway. Will this be starting this season or next? It will be starting next season, Brent. Since we've already gone in 3 races, we want to keep it like that for the rest of the year. There's been too many changes, as well as we need to iron this thing out. So we might try it at one of these other events. I was talking to Randall, might try it at the Monster Cross. That has not been said. I'm just saying that we might try it at an event. I don't want to ruin anybody's event. We might try it at a Bakersfield club race or something. Just put it out there. This isn't in stone, guys. So don't be taking my words, Matt said, or something like that. So don't be crucifying me, throw me under the bus. I'm just saying we want to do a trial run of this beforehand at one of these other events so that we're able to iron out any sort of details. I know Chris and I both know that we've been to hundreds, if not thousands of events over the years, but running your own event is totally different than attending an event. There's so many back-end things that go wrong, and Chris can attest to this. My buddy Jason Turner can attest to this. I was literally crying after my first event with everything.
The first Monster Cross, I ran the first round of qualifying and then loaned my cars out the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, it was not even fun. I was crying like I rested. I sat in my chair for 2 hours looking at the dirt because I was so exhausted and nothing worked right, and the audio was garbage, and the video was garbage, and everything was just horrible, and I thought I failed, you know, but everybody after the event, they're like, Matt, you did a good job. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought I did horrible. So it's one of those things, and now our video's good. We run a clean program. We get guys out of there on time. Like, everything is always a trial and error, and we're going to figure out a method with this too to get it just right for the community.
We're just going to get Matt to sit there and start building his own tracks then too.
I don't have time for that. I have you for that, Chris. Ronnie Basic here. I like inverting the grid. Ooh. So giving some more ideas. I like that. We might need to try that at some of these events, inverting the grid.
I think we should get bonus points. Like, was it Mickey Thompson Racing when they inverted the grid? The leader had a flag on the back of the truck,
like streaming in the back, you know, coming up.
That's how you knew it was the leader and the grid was inverted. So you can kind of go, okay, well, where's the leader at? Where's the front of the guy that the top qualifier? So you can see how they march through the field. If they can march through the field.
Okay, Joey says, I think this is a great idea, and if this doesn't work out, then bring it back to hardcore chase compound platform style races. What is that, Chris? I don't know if I even know what platform style races is.
I don't know.
Just talking about the general 4x4 truck or 4x4 buggy or what?
Well, because at Chase we originally started with 2 classes, and it was basically expert and sportsman. We eventually added a beginner class and added a pro class just because people didn't feel it was fair necessarily for them to have to potentially race me or Matt or Brian. I said, but we're not always at those events, and a lot of times, like myself and Matt, we don't get to work on our cars at the events. They have to be good out of the trailer or close enough out of the trailer because we're usually working on everybody else's cars.
Yeah, when we're, like Chris said, when we're running the booth, I'm running the shop. I have one person there, and unfortunately for Chris, he probably doesn't have a person, but I got Jason. So I'm like, Jason, or I've got David. I'm like, hey,
I got Shark Tongue.
I need that front arm change. You got Shark Tongue. There you go. So we always need helpers. Like I couldn't do it without Jason. I'm sure Chris, Shark Tongue's always there helping out him. And, we need people. It's a group effort, and when running these events and everything, I'm dog tired after everything and putting out fires everywhere and doing everything. So yeah, I don't even work on my stuff. Jason helps me out a lot. And I'm just like, I need this changed, or I need that oil changed, or this spring rate change. Please do it and let it not fall apart.
And I'm too anal about my cars, so sometimes I'm just like, Joe, make sure there's gas in the battery charged.
I'll just make sure that I tell Jason, I'm like, take it apart, Jason, sometimes, or somebody else. I'm like, I'll put it back together. Just get it apart for me. Disassemble, I'll reassemble.
And the other one of, hey, make sure the wheel nuts are tight, those things.
Let me see here.
Matt running everything and rebuilding servos. Jake Alton.
You know that. Let's see here. Tim Parker. I like that you guys are at least brainstorming ideas. I like driving with faster guys. Makes me faster. Yeah, that's definitely true, Tim, and that's kind of the attitude that we want. Cody Turner, super fast 10-scale guy and 8-scale popping in. Blast from the past. Cody's doing like drone racing now.
Oh, he's probably good at that too. He's fast.
I'll bring you in as my drone pilot for videoing races, Cody.
Who flew the drone up at Delta? That video was cool. Was that Charlie?
That was Charlie. Charlie's good.
That was pretty rad.
He was real good.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
We got Randall. We'll make the division far. We'll make the division fair. He means fair for everyone. So yeah, most definitely, Randall. Let me see here. Charles up at Delta. I really like this idea. It makes the racing closer. Yeah, most definitely. Up at Delta, I talked to Craig, and I didn't even know this. I was like, it's still a differentiation of what they did, but Craig, really smart guy, Delta RC, check them out. That's where we just were. Super awesome track, and they're going to be doing some Fiskill club racing up there, so get up there, guys. And for all of our NorCal Fiskill guys. I talked to Craig up there, and he used to run a series between all the tracks up there, and that's where I was going to say pro sportsman expert. He called it divisions. So I kind of like the division part of it as well as, but his divisions, it would qualify you into it, and then you'd have to stay in that division from then on. So we're going to do more of a hybrid of it where you can stream in between the divisions until the finals, because then that's where it'll place you.
So let me see if I get this right. Then basically, are you going to sit there and say the first 5 rounds, if we do them, they basically set the top 10 for the final round. So in that top 10, those top 10 drive, that's your qualifying is. This is the Division 1 qualifier. Then you set the grid out of those 10, and those guys battle it out for.
Exactly.
Are you going to do it at that it's still points based, or is it going to be at that point in time you qualified in, you get a bonus point for, so it's not a massive point gap because you get guys that could.
That's something to really, I like what you're saying, because then it qualifies you into that group, and then it's down to that final race. If you get last in that final race, sorry.
It's the NASCAR resort, right? The number 1 guy gets 10 points.
I like that, because then it can't be something where somebody runs away with it, throughout everything, but it's gritting you up. I do like that. That's a really good thing, Chris. I like that a lot.
It becomes, because there'll be guys that go, man, I could have dominated Division 2, but I qualified 10th. And he's like, I don't have any chance points-wise legitimately to make it. Now.
And I really, I dropped my cheese stick.
it gives them a chance. I mean, there's still a bonus.
I really like what you're saying, and that does something, you know, like even for instance, like, you know, put myself in those shoes. If I'm, you know, I think I got the number 1 trophies up there. Yeah. Like if I'm winning everything throughout it, I put myself so far out into the thing where I'm like, it's already in the bag for the year. It's done. You know, there's no possible way for you to ever catch me in points. Unless we do the double rounds points, and that's why we do the double points for the end of the year, is to get the guys to go and to get them where they qualify in the end. But I like what you're saying is where these points will qualify you into a starting position or to something around there. I don't know how it'll be.
Well, it sets the
where you qualify into the division and you can only be in that division. Then you qualify into the spot that you're going to be, and then whoever ends up in the finals of where you're at, that's the trophy for the overall that you get.
Well,
is that what we're getting at?
No, what I'm saying is, okay, so you use the points to say these top 10 drivers, there's no bumping and qualifying at this point in time. No. So division A in the final round at race 6, these top 10 guys are the 10 guys that are going to run in the Division 1 final. Then you run your 3 rounds of, you know, so how you qualified into that sets your points. So after round 5, if you were the top point seed, you start with 10 points. If you were 2, you start with 9. Then you start with 8, and you go down so that the 10th place guy has 1 point. Because if it's 10 points to win or whatever the point, how the point structure is going to be, basically there is a benefit to how you qualify. So it gives you bonus points. So you don't necessarily have to win the final. Like if you qualified first and finished second or third, but the guy that was in second finished 4th, you know, there's still a leeway to, you know, or vice versa. You know, the dude that was running 5th wins the final event. He might have a shot at making it up to the podium because the guys in front of him faltered.
Yeah, I think
there has to be a benefit to qualifying. Otherwise, if everyone started with the same points, there's no difference to qualifying 1st or 10th into that.
No, 100%. I like what you're saying. And that's, I said, I think there's growth that we need to have. We need to, you know, sit down, write this down, and kind of get, you know, opinions from a lot of different people, and kind of. But we have a couple months to iron this out. We have Jason Moorhead here, one of our awesome guys out of Arizona, just getting into it. And Jason, I would say, is a very fast beginner. He ended up buying Joey's truck, and he owns Sight Solar. Check out sightsolar.us, I think it is. Jason could correct me. But he provides all of the solar lights for Flier farms. So any tracks out there, get Sight Solar. It doesn't, like, it works off of the sun. So no diesel, no nothing. This dude's stuff is awesome. So he's
they're quiet. They're quiet. You don't burn diesel fuel.
Oh, well, they're silent. They're not even quiet. They're silent. There's nothing. It's a light bulb, you know, and they just work with auto magically. So, Jason, 100% agree with what you guys are proposing. There will always be a variation from driver to driver, track to track. The key is to just have a great time. Keep up the great work, guys. Really appreciate your efforts. Yeah, thank you, Jason Moorhead, for all the support and what you're doing as well with sightsolar.us. So let me see. So how would we figure season-ending points? Yeah, John, I think we already might have answered that question. Like I said, we have to sit down, pencil and paper, see what makes the most sense. But I'm sure that what we do is we take like top 10, then the next 10, then the next 10, and then for the finals, you'd be into there, automatically qualified into the finals.
John's trying to shed his sandbagger title. That's why.
Let me see here. Mike Duncan, bench racing in pit talking is always the best, especially at night when you're in Kevin Enriquez's motorhome, listening to him complain about how he's in the B main at Worlds. And then I just heard about Brent Bisbee talking out of a scale and thrashing on it that night. Yeah, Brent was having a really good time that night. That is for sure.
I don't know if there was a said flashlight taped to the front of an A-scale car, but you can't let Kevin drive stuff at night.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Let me see. Jessica, he's not fast. Is that your hubby that you're talking about, Jessica? Because he is wicked quick. He's been podiing everywhere. Whatever class he's in, that dude's on there. Greg Catherine, great idea, guys. Can't wait to be out there and racing. Yes, Greg is he does a lot of auto body stuff and painting stuff. Greg, I know he does. He's like out of the price range for like us normal people, but he does stuff that's unobtainium. So hit him up if you guys have like crazy rigs that you need restoring in that.
Like, yeah, his custom cars are sick.
Yes, they are. They're way sick.
That's definitely out of my budget.
Out of our budget, that's for sure. Maybe one of these days. Let me see here. I'm trying to scroll through your guys' comments. I think this is one of our best lives that we've ever had here, Chris. We've had 40 to 50 guys on here the entire time. Let me see.
I mean, I know there are some guys talking about the things on the East Coast. The East Coast, the problem is it's like everything is kind of so far apart, and it's not necessarily on the East Coast. So like, there's the Dirt Blast events and the stuff that goes on at RC Fest with Horizon in Monticello at Eli Field. Those are coming up, I think, in July. There's a race out in Illinois.
Yeah, that's Lee Morrison's race. I've been wanting to go out there, but it's the same dates as our just the whole COVID thing. That's why I took out the hottest months, July and August. But then COVID gave me this. It basically did this to us, and it kind of screwed up. We were going to go to Canada. I was going to go out east. I was going to travel these races. I was going to be an RC gypsy, for a couple months there, and COVID gave me the middle finger.
Are you going to Tony's race in?
I am.
Iowa or
I am. Iowa? I might have an open seat. You want to go?
I don't know. I talked to him the other day. I'm trying to make sure I get all my actual real work done so I can actually go play. My real work's done. Then,
okay. Well, if you do, we might have an open seat for you. We're going to be taking the mod van and powering up there. And I think we'll have 2 or 3 drivers. So if you want to go up.
It's 1,100 miles, so you can actually knock it out in a day if you rotate.
You could. Thinking that, we would have probably 3 to 4 drivers then if you go. But I am going up. I was going to fly, but I was going to take my dad. And my dad's like, "Hey, let's just drive." So then I'm like, "Well, why not?" So it'll be about the same time, and then I don't have to reassemble my cars, which is nice.
I know what the drive is when myself, Kyle Christie, and Kevin Chase decided to Ironman it to Indiana. 2,200 miles. We were thinking it was, we were smoking the Bandit eastbound and down. I think we went 2,200 miles in like 40 hours or something like that. We literally
dude, I think it's 24 to get up there, so it's not too shabby.
Yeah, we literally didn't stop. It was stop for gas, get some food, go to the bathroom, change drivers, and rotate.
Exactly.
And,
we have Frank L. I've seen it work awesome back in 2010, the NorCal Champ Series. So that's the one he's talking about, guys, that Craig's Delta ran when he was doing it. So he said it was really, really good, and it created a lot of cool racing. So it's been done before. I think it can be done in a hybrid version for us. Steve Perez does a lot of videos for Fifth Scale. Check out his what is it, Fang CPO?
Yeah.
That's it. So check out Fang CPO on YouTube, guys. Steve is always doing some cool videos for us out there. Great idea. You won't know until you try it out. Let's do it.
You can probably see the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years of history for West Coast Fifth Scale on Steve's YouTube channel. Except for the last, there's like a year and a half he was going back to school. But you can see a lot of the Fifth Scale West Coast history on the Fang CPO YouTube channel.
We have Mike Duncan. I know the situation with your cameras, but it is too bad we couldn't get better footage closer to the track because sometimes, as you know, the cars are real small when the cameras are at one end of the track. I know you're doing the best you can. It'd be better if we can get better footage. Yeah, Mike. We're going to try and get better angles. I don't know if you're talking about or what race you're talking about. I think it's been pretty good the last couple that we've had. We had to set up on the one side of the end of the track, of course, for Delta just because of where the announcer is. So running cables and everything like that just wasn't possible to run it about 200, 250 feet to the driver's stand. So we had to set up at one end. But with the zoom control, I think that really helps stuff out. Maybe when we weren't there or when you had a fisheye cam, I could see where you might have a point. But that for all the main events, we try to have all the zoom control and everything, as well as we might need some help. Like, guys, when we're out there, we're struggling. It's like one person. Please lend us a hand. We're looking for a hand out there. Like, if you guys like have a spare minute, come and do some camera work. Well, I'll let you get on the camera. Come in, help push a broom around. Like, I'm out. Like, I know at this last event, I was out there day and night repairing stuff, helping some of these Delta crew, running in between the pits, doing the camera work, you know, all this different stuff. And everybody just usually just sits there and doesn't do anything. So if you guys have a spare minute, you know, it's really nice if you guys say, hey, can I help for a race or something like that? We'll put you on the camera, I swear to God. So, and we'll need that as we get more. You know, it's not possible to be able to, you know, when we get different camera guys to be paying them for like a full day. We need people to volunteer and help out if we need to do this, because it's just not possible to do it with one person. So if you guys end up lending a hand every once in a while, it goes really, really far.
Yeah. RC camera goes a long way.
Yes.
Yeah, Joey, the Bakersfield race is this, what, 17th, 18th, 19th?
17th, 18th, 19th. Yes, we just posted it up.
So that's a couple weeks.
Jake Olson running everything, rebuilding servos. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I helped out Jake at this last one. Ronnie Basic, the servo whisperer. I don't want to be.
I'm going to tell Jake stop hitting stuff.
Right? Let me see. So put everyone together in qualifiers, then seed them into the mains. Where have you been, Brent? That's basically what it is, buddy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Let me see here.
But it's just the trophies will say Division 1, Division 2, Division 3 versus
exactly
A main, B main, exactly. C main.
We have Guy Nelson here. After my first 5th scale race at Flier Farm, I'm totally hooked. My 10th scale cars are collecting dust. Much appreciated was the help of Flier Farm family and you personally, Matt, provided. Looking forward to traveling to these upcoming races. Yeah, thank you, Guy. Thank you for coming out and supporting, man.
And the Flier Farm do a great job.
They do. They do an awesome job. The last event was awesome. I think we set a record when we ran both 5th scales and 8th scales. We had 147, I think.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I'm drawing the new track layout, and then I got to figure out when we're going to go out there and build the new track. We built the track in August out there, and it was 110-ish plus degrees. It was okay for me and Bob because sitting in an air-conditioned cab in the skid steer.
Yeah.
For the guy for when I was pointing at Ryan and Ray, hey, put some water down over there. Those guys were worked, and all they were doing helping me out was putting water down, but it was so.
I know, we're all busting our butt out there. I think I was repiping the track with the guys and going through it every night, you know. So it takes a lot of work, guys. And when you guys can lend a helping hand, you know, I'll even toss you a shirt, hat. I don't care. Like, get out there and help your local tracks because it helps everybody if we have more manpower. Joey Tyler, he goes, I'm pushing your truck, my real truck outside. So Joey has my Toyota. I won't say for a specified period of time, but he does awesome work. So hit up Joey if you need like transmission work, you know, get you out like that. I just put him on. He got my transmission done quick. And then I was like, hey, Joey, can you throw on a supercharger onto my truck? And then that's he's been hanging up and changing his stuff. But hit up Joey, guys. If you're in Arizona and Mesa or around that area, he does awesome work on transmissions, really knows his stuff.
You see Steve Perez, he loves Flier Farm because there's hotels near a Cracker Barrel and the track. So he gets his Cracker Barrel fix like every day before he comes to the track.
Joshua Taro, is Dirt Oval still big on the West Coast? I know there isn't a facility in Phoenix, Arizona anymore. Joshua, no. is probably the best answer. I think it's biggest in Bakersfield. They just have a little stuff going on for 5th scale, even 10th scale. I see some oval they have over there. They've got real oval there, so I think that's why they do it. It's never really seemed to be a West Coast thing, oval racing.
And the thing is, if you've ever raced oval, it's actually a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Especially doing
it by yourself, but once you get like 10 dudes out there, it's pretty fun.
I mean, we actually ran. I remember when I did a lot of stuff with HPI and John Schultz. And we went to the Orange Show in San Bernardino, and we ran on the midget track. It was like Bristol. It was rad. It's like a 5-second concrete oval lap. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of fun.
Randall Buffalo Fries.
Mike Duncan wants the camera to zoom in on his rig. Well, if Mike Duncan ever attended a race in 2020, I would say that could be true, Steve, but Mike hasn't even raced this year. He raced at Worlds. I'm sorry. None of my races, though. He hates me, though. Mike doesn't like me anymore.
You could zoom in on his rig. It'd just be a static shot. We can take it off his face.
He's standing there.
Yeah.
He won't even be there. Or I would have to turn around, go to the geographic location of Mike, x-ray through his garage, x-ray through his trailer as it's sitting in his trailer because he doesn't race RC cars, at least at my events. I don't know what it is. I thought we were homies. Me and Mike, really good buddies. And he's just like, Mike's giving me the Corona finger right now. Is what it is. I know it. Let me see. Is Bakersfield mod race still in 2 weeks? It is on the 17th through the 19th, Joey. So updated flyer, it's 17th to 19th. So it's kind of like 2.5 weeks, I would say. Since today's Thursday, it's about that.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. So about 2 to 3 weeks. You got some time. Steve Perez, Matt's camera's on a tripod. It's not as hard as when I'm doing it with the camera on my shoulder. Agreed, Steve. I love the tripod. Let me see here.
Matt requires more space than Steve does, though.
I do. Let me see here. Camera work. I don't know what John is saying. Can we show up Sunday morning? I don't know what that even means. Yeah, Charlie here. The camera's fun. I helped his cameraman for the Pro 4x4 truck main. So if I made any mistakes, I'm sorry. No, you did awesome, Charlie. I watched it the other day. You did awesome on the cam.
I just need a tracker so it can follow my truck around the track.
Yeah. A little data tracker just on his rig.
Yeah. But then we need like 6 cameras to go, okay, everybody gets a tracker and everything, and then you cut to.
Exactly. Yeah, most definitely. Joey here posting up. Bob Garver, Randall Morrow have been doing a great job at Flier Farm track. They all run almost every weekend consistently. Yeah, since we went down there, I think we ended up bringing some more 8-scale guys out. I think they had a lot of fun there at Flier Farm. I think it did its job by us going out there and hosting the event, having that nice big event there. And it's facilitating club racing there for a lot of dudes out there. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, see, and I think they have a track day coming up this weekend. They're not having practice, but I think Flier Farm's got a track day. You can check with Randall Morrow or Bob Garver. I think they're going to go out early Saturday morning. I think,
yeah.
4th of July, like 5:30, 6 o'clock a.m., because it's going to get crazy hot in Arizona. For them to just do some repair work to the track. So if you guys are in that Phoenix area and can go lend a hand to the track, I'm sure Bob and Randall would very much appreciate that.
Yeah, for everybody out there at Flier Farm. Yeah, definitely what Chris just said. They need help out there, guys. They're going to be doing that track day Saturday.
Because for all you guys that ever want to complain about a track, you know, come out and help. And you'll realize how much work it actually is, and you'll probably be a little more lenient because, you know, you got to remember the guys. There's always 3-4 guys that do all the work, and it's a little bit thankless. You know, they hear good jobs from certain people, and then they hear lots of
complaints.
was blown out, this or that, and give them encouragement, guys. That's how you're going to keep these guys motivated.
Yeah, constructive criticism, guys, and that you're able to, and then all of us are doing this for, nobody's really making any money. But the main thing is like, if you want the track to be better, lend a helping hand. Lend a helping hand if you can. If there's constructive criticism to be had, how can we make it better? I know guys have commented on different stuff before, and if they don't have a solution for me, or they're not able to help out about it, may as well not even have been said. So
most tracks during race days, the biggest issue is usually finding guys to help water.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially
when
when
you grab a hose, guys, and help. Like, I know I was running down from the camera just to water. And even if you watered one time throughout the weekend, if everybody did that once, it would be amazing.
Yeah, because if you've ever tried to drag 100-foot of fire hose, it's not very light.
No, it's not at all.
It's cool when it's empty. Oh, man, when it's full, nope.
Yeah, exactly. So we have, this is a good one. Cody Wayne. I don't know if you, I'm sure I did those new A blocks, right, Chris?
Oh, yeah, I saw those.
So they're way dialed. So anyways, Cody and
Duncan and Fatback, all those guys, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
They all break the TLR block. So the TLR block, I know what you got to do when you brought it in. So you had to go with the same shape as the stock ones. Well, you have that a hairline crack forms right there, eventually. So I didn't want to make any others. All the other ones are awesome. I just need to make the A block because people are splitting them. But it wasn't because it was like you didn't hit nothing. You were hitting something. To break the block, you're hitting something really, really bad, and it's
hard.
Just this point. And I had never broken one myself, but I had seen the hairline cracks that are there. I don't know if I have one in my little bag of goodies around here. Where's my box?
It's one of those things. It is an aluminum part. They do fatigue over time, So, I mean, it's one of those things. Anytime you rebuild your car, or even when you make a setup change, pull the block off, clean it off, look at it. I mean,
if you got the hairline cracks, get the mod A block.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what it did. There it is. I got it here. So for those guys that don't have one of these and you're running the TLR blocks, which are awesome, the 19900 here, we beefed up. I can't do this backwards. We beefed up the corner edge right in here.
Yeah, the other difference that
you have to trim some of your deals so Chris can see it right there.
Yeah, that's the big difference is I can't ask someone to trim the bumper with a factory part.
Hey, I understand that. But this fixes that. A lot of our racers need this. So I might need to get Chris one of these so he sports this junk. So what this does, guys, is the product plug right here. So if you end up breaking an A block, get one of these puppies. Because you don't have to buy the A and B block separately. And it comes or all together where you have a bunch of B blocks. So now you just buy the one that you need. I didn't create B blocks, C blocks, D blocks. The TLR ones are great. The only one I did this is for durability, and this is the one you want to get. So we'll probably get some of these on Chris's rigs here, maybe, hopefully soon.
I have to add it as a block so I can make them look stealth.
Get all dialed. So
make it look stealth. I gotta hide it.
I know, right? Just Sharpie it with gold.
Sharpie.
So Cody Wayne, he's like, hope everybody's got those A blocks. So Cody and our good friend Brian Shapiro. So Brian, I've got a video. I need to capture it because I was actually coming the same way right behind Cody. So at Bakersfield, like round 3 of their club race, there's a big double section, or it's a double, and there's 3 of them on the back side of Bakersfield. It's actually a really fun part of the track. Well, in the middle of the track, there's a straightaway. So these guys are coming this way on the back end. These guys are coming on the straightaway or what have you.
That looks like he's waiting for the head on.
Oh, yeah. So, like, Brian was in second, and Cody, I think, was coming around. He was, like, behind. Well, Cody's full tilt on the straightaway, and he's coming out, like, towards those jumps. And then Brian's coming over, and he's in like a group of 4 dudes, and he kind of got pushed wide into the lane. So then Brian's full tilt, Cody's full tilt, and they just went poof, and just totally. And I saw it firsthand because I was full tilt behind Cody, and all I see is Brian's car just coming through. I hit the brakes. I freaking lock up my truck, and I'm like, I don't want to hit him because I'm in first. I'm checked out, gone. I'm like a lap up right now. I'm gone. So I'm like, they're gonna break my truck. So what ended up happening is Cody, and they both have the turtle arms on the front end too. Cody hit him, and Brian didn't have even the A block from TLR because he had broken him before. He had the stock block, the stock one, and Brian sheared his stock one. Brian sheared his stock one in half. And what Cody did is Cody broke the hinge pin in half.
The hinge pin should have broke before the block broke.
The hinge pin broke. So this is the thing that survived on Cody's. So even guys, if you don't have even the TLR blocks, get this block, and you can just get the TLR pills. So then you have an adjustable A block for your kick. So that's a upgrade part right there that you can do, and for durability, because tested full tilt, it was probably about a good $100 break that you guys don't have to go through because Cody and Brian already went through it for your pleasure. And tested out the durability of this puppy, and Cody's won. So,
and if guys are waiting for those A blocks, I think they're going to be back in stock in like 2 or 3 weeks.
You can get those. Well, get this A block too, and then go and get the TLR one. So then you have the adjustable B block. You can get this puppy. It uses the TLR stock pills, so you can use their stock pills. And it's a super beefy A block where then you can change your kick on the front end. So I think it's like lifetime warranty almost on these things. I've never seen one break. So I might need to hold my tongue on that. Somebody can after a wall like 80 miles an hour and be like, I broke this thing, man.
Yeah, and if you do want to know, it's like I actually do change the pin height and stuff quite a bit.
Yes, I do too.
Depending on the track conditions.
More than anything, I change these pills because then I don't have to change like diff fluids and junk.
Yeah,
track huge upgrade, guys. Get this thing, 19900. I kept it in the family. Josh Alton of ADI manufactured these for us. So ADI does a lot of 5th scale stuff. He all made in the USA. So grab these things, 19900 on modspeedshop.com. Let me see here. Anybody have some questions? Mike Duncan, yeah, the one and only time I could have possibly beat you and Matt was that Madera when I broke my front A block. See, if you would have had one of these, Mike Duncan, you would have been okay. But they didn't exist then, so it's not really your fault.
Yeah, I think that was the Madera race for me and Matt.
We both broke like
with 90 seconds to go.
Like
the last lap.
My front pin broke I broke my front carrier, and then literally as I'm hobbling around or something, or right after, no, I was okay. Literally, you had a runaway.
I broke the on-off switch. It broke, and it was inside my box, and it turned itself off.
And then in the next corner, my front end basically gave out on me because both Chris and I were like, it was a full-on battle royale we're having at CVR, and both of our cars just gave up the goose in the same corner. His was just more fatal. His was more fatal than mine, and I ended up still winning. I limped it around.
The race was awesome for like 22 and a half minutes.
It was. Broke, and then I broke, and then I limped it around, and then Duncan was like half a lap behind, and then Duncan broke, so that was his own fault. And then well, John, this one you're able to adjust stuff for John Ingold where you're able to adjust for setup now, and it won't break. So that's for you, John Ingold. So it gets you those adjustment points for your kick, which is very crucial and helps with how your car enters and exits the corners with the weight distribution. and how you go through bumps too. So get them John as well.
You can change a lot of roll center without changing the diff or suspension stuff to get from high bite to bumpy.
Yeah.
So, and to make sure that your car still has steering.
Yeah, and David Sparling on there doesn't need any to be modded on the buggy. So yeah, the buggy bumper, guys, it's actually from what David says. This thing fits right on the buggy bumper. I don't think it has those little tabs like it's molded into the truck bumpers. So little upgrade for you guys. Grab that puppy. We made like 100 of them.
I think Mike's being delusional because we gave them a lap head start at that race.
Did we?
Remember, we started on the front.
Oh, in the back. We started in the back.
Like, we literally gave them 3/4 of a lap head start, and I think we caught him in lap 6.
You could be right. Yeah, old man, you're forgetful.
He's forgetful like that flip phone he's rocking.
Yeah, I know, right? See that Mike Duncan phone that he's got? That's his actual cell phone. You know, all the years that I've known Mike Duncan, he still has, like, the same Samsung S1, you know, like the original. We're on S10 now or whatever it is, Galaxy Mark II. And Mike Duncan's got the S1 of everything with his same orange and gray case on it, and he has to charge it about every 2 minutes to keep battery charging.
That one's like one step newer than that Zach Morris phone.
Oh, his phone is around that. Like, unless he smashes that thing in the truck or something, Mike Duncan will have that. We'll bury him with that phone. He'll be in a coffin. That thing's like the Nokia of phones is what Mike Duncan has. He's got the Nokia phone that never break.
I think they're bringing back Razors or StarTacs or something, so he could get another flip phone.
Motorola Razr. I know he probably could. He might need it. He always does that old man look when he needs to type on his phone. He has his glasses. He puts his glasses, kind of focuses away so it gets the right focal point. You know, him for his kind of prescription glasses that might be cheater glasses that he gets from Walgreens. You know, I'm thinking he's on that level. Love you, Mike.
He's good. He's good. Basically, you can tell he's at home doing screw both of you.
Oh yeah, he's sitting there. He's working on some sort of FJ. I've invited him out to all the races. Tried bribing him. He's like, I don't want to go. So he's been a little bit of a little girl lately for getting out there to the races. But I think he's going to be out to Bakersfield. I hear he's coming up early. So Mike Duncan will only go as far as where he can go back to his own home to poop, you know, at night. 'Cause he won't use other people's toilets, you know. So that's where Duncan is. He doesn't like to use other toilets, so he's like, I need to go home. I need to be within a couple hours so I can go back home and then come back to the track and be okay.
I like Duncan's last comment.
Can't wait till that trailer gets in here. And the bill's going to be high. Yeah, Duncan works on all my trailer stuff. So I definitely help him out with parts and stuff like that. But since he hasn't been to any of my races in 2020, I've been busting his balls all year because he's been a little beesh as of late.
Dude, we're gonna wait for your mom to tell you stop drinking the Dr. Pepper.
I know, she'll pop on here. Don't tempt her.
See, at least if you're gonna drink it, at least drink this one.
Skittles. You got the diet version.
Yeah, I have a diet can. I haven't opened it. Granted, I'm drinking this. This probably isn't very much.
You just offset it and put it way above.
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm just trying to balance it out to like a normal Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
If you drink a normal one, it would be that.
Well, that's why I haven't drank this one, right?
Let's see here. I need more comments here. Okay, Tim Barth. OBR Barlone engines. Both are great engines, Tim. Both Chris and I, we do run Barlone. A lot of the guys go fast with OBR as well. We have Mike Duncan. We got Josh Mitchell, Cody Wayne, Dan himself, obviously. A lot of people. And Dan has some of the best trackside support when we're out there at the races. So definitely shout out to OBR. He is a good dude. And Chris is a good dude. Chris is an artist at what he does as well. And Chris Barlone engines, very, very fast engines. Awesome. So both OCR and Barlone, they support the community big time.
Come on, that's the Ford and Chevy of our industry.
It is. It is. Let me see here. Yeah, guys. So pretty good engagement this whole time. We've been on here an hour and 40 minutes. I think we've had 30 to 50, viewers on here. You guys going to be at JBRL next weekend? I will not be, Cody. I've got a wedding to go to, so I won't be at the JBRL for ATL Thunder next weekend. But I'll be at a wedding in Tucson. Super fun.
See that?
But it sucks in Arizona, because I was looking forward to stopping by the Hobby Action track over there, and they just closed it down to only 50 people, so they had to close down their big race with J Concepts there. That's unfortunate.
Oh, really?
Yep, they just canceled it.
Is it just because it's indoors, right?
Yes. Yep. So it's pretty. It sucks. Like, it really sucks. So we'll see how all pans out. Hopefully it doesn't affect us for the next couple rounds of the mod series. If we can run, we'll be running because we've run out of months, Chris. We got maybe one more month we could reschedule to, which is August.
Gonna make it. We're all gonna. If nobody wants to wear masks, we're all gonna have face shields on.
Oh Jesus.
I'm just gonna bring the motocross helmet. I'm gonna wear the motocross helmet on the stand.
Yeah. No, there you go. Let everyone qualify together. Allow the newer enthusiasts to follow the fast guys so they can learn, then break things up. Yeah, Lee, if you watch the rest of this video, we've kind of gone through all of that. Hit up Lee Morrison. Hit him up. If you guys are on the East Coast, he's doing some stuff out at Eli Field.
Yeah, I think in 2 weeks, the Dirt Blast event.
Yeah, same dates as our Bakersfield event, but he's doing some at Eli Field with Horizon Hobby. So hit up Lee Morrison, main fifth scale guy out there. I was trying to make it this year, Lee, but the Rona gave me the middle finger, so wasn't able to make it out, and I had to unfortunately schedule that race too. So
Charles, I second the motocross helmet.
Yeah, I second the motocross helmet. I like it.
Because you know how funny that would be, the best driver stand picture of everybody up with motocross helmets on.
You know how hot it would get in there, especially if you had the goggles on? It would be to whoever, it would fog up and everything. You'd be done. The sweat would be coming down. The car would be all over the place. You couldn't see.
What's the guy on the two-stroke with the friggin' open face helmet? Whatever, Mac.
You have to have fans blowing into there to get us cool air, and then you'd be blowing the Rona into your face. Like, that would be worse.
So I need a pumper helmet with the hose on the back of it. Little backpack.
We need the full NASCAR air conditioned suit.
Yeah, Ronnie Mac. I'm gonna go with the open face helmet and the.
We were Ronnie Mac helmet.
We'll full on Ronnie. A full on driver stand of open face Ronnie Mac looking helmets.
Oh my God.
I don't even know where you get an open face helmet anymore.
eBay.
I had one of those literally glitter finish looking helmets when I was 8 years old, learning how to ride a 50. Yeah, no. Ingold's got pumper helmets. That's what I'm talking about.
Jacob Alston, old school. I don't even know what that is. That's probably predates me living.
Dude, it's the little mask that goes under. It connects to the goggles, so it protects your face.
Oh, shoot.
It's like a paintball mask.
Okay.
I think they still make it for paintball.
Put our masks. We'll just put things over our eyes and just have it go back like Robin and Batman. Be like, we're wearing our masks, guys. We put it on. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's going to be the whole thing, man. You know, we'll definitely. It's going to be a thing where we're going to be like, all right, dude, who's got the best get up for the main events, and we're going to have to give away a prize.
It's going to be a prize. It'll be a little trophy.
for who's going to Ronnie Mack it up the most, or
Ronnie Mac 69 trophy or whatever it is. Oh, jeez.
I'm going to go up there, Travis Pastrana, with like full on protective gear underneath the big jersey and a helmet.
And you're out there in Bakersfield. Next thing you know, Chris Higa has heat stroke.
Yeah.
He pulls a Ronnie Basic on us and has a heart attack out there.
Dude, if Cody Wayne shows up with a Halloween mask, that's awesome.
I know, I'll be sick. Yeah, do Halloween? Yes, they do, Cody. Any sort of mask counts. So, yeah, it should be good. Man, guys, I think this has been awesome. So for those guys popping in, watch this video earlier as well. Chris Higa and I have been going over a new way to basically have the rounds. I think from everybody's that's kind of chimed in out here has really kind of, you know, told us what's up and that they're excited kind of for the new layout. We think that it'll do several things. It'll help the classes. It'll help the racing. It'll help put people in their designated where they need to be based off of actual skill level and not the arbitrary thinking of where they should be. And it makes them try throughout the entire event of knowing of where they don't know where they're going to qualify. They have to actually qualify. Who knew? Who knew, Chris, that we're actually going to have to qualify now?
You know, I got one more thing that I thought of that would be cool and a little bit of incentivizing how you finish in the series.
Okay.
So for the OG guys that have raced for a long time that remember the Saturday series that Joey Christensen used to put on between the dirt and pro line, that series, if you finished in the top 10, you got a series number that you ran that was your number for the entire series the following year.
Oh, I like that.
So, like, if you were the champion, you will be car 1 all of next year.
Okay.
You know, that said, you know, it might say mod series 2021.
I could talk to Jim about that.
And you have your name on your, and we make a stack of, you know, you make them 100, maybe like 100 decals, and you go, yes, you get to run your number 1 plate. It's like having the number 1 plate. Like, you know, we can make it with a red background or, you know, or whatnot, but you have that number 1 plate and it's got your name on it, you know, for your, you know, for the top 10 finishers, you know.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Babcock does the number plates. I think it's green or red or something like that for who's the points leader. At the thing. And points will be up soon, guys. I have to change some stuff around because I ended up naming them different classes. And for the second one, so I kind of screwed things up. So I'm gonna have to go back through there and do a little bit of fixing. So don't worry about that. So points will be up soon, hopefully beginning of next week. But yeah, I like that idea. You know, doing, you know, where it actually means something for the following year. I think that's cool. I think we got a lot of, you know, good points and people are, you know, making good suggestions and everything. I think we kind of get a little, you know, committee together of a couple of us, and we're kind of all on the same page. Everybody, you know, that I've talked to has, you know, even yourself and even the track owners and everything, where everybody's behind it. You know, everybody's like, this is a good idea. And we do too. It's gonna put people where they belong, and that I think, and Joey had mentioned that earlier. Everybody just wants to race against people that are of their level, you know, and this will 100% do that, 100%. And then if somehow where they don't qualify really well, they have to try and bump up, you know, and then it'll send them out of that class, you know. So that as well.
Because if we had a Division 1, 2, and 3, basically you made 30 numbers from the top 30.
Exactly.
Right. You could. It would make it interesting when you sit there and be like, oh, dude, that guy's got a low single-digit number and he's in the D. Oh, he's got his work cut out for him. Like you'll kind of know which have been the fast guys, without having to work too hard.
That's pretty cool. I like the numbers thing. I think I can definitely get Jim Conquest. Hit up Jim, guys, if you guys need Imagineering Graphics. He does a lot of our shirts. He does that sticker, that little mod sticker right there. He does that shirt right there. He does all of our trophies. He does a lot of pro motocross stuff. So Gym Conquest, Imagineering Graphics. If you guys done boards, he does everything. You know, pit boards, hats, shirts.
He made
stickers. The dude does everything. I don't know how he does everything, but he does everything. He does tents. He's got a purse. He's got a guy for everything. And he also sponsors the mod Fifth Scale Championship Series and the trophies and everything. He does all those. You need logos done. You need everything. Anything that's printed that needs to stick, he will do it. And anything custom. Let me see.
What do you consider is the difference between hacking? You see, put up, Cody. So
what do you
hacking?
Okay.
Hacking basically is T-bone. If your bumper connects to the side of their car, that to me is a hack. Anything door to door is generally okay as long as you're not using the guy as a berm to send.
Well, I agree. Like rubbing as racing is when you're actually, like kind of Chris said, you don't harm the person's line. Like you might be up against him going back and forth, but like hacking is when you know that thing where they drive through you. They actually send you totally out. They spin around your truck, like they hit you, you flip over. You know, if it takes that kind of force, they drove through you. You know, and a lot of that can be seen right out where they had no
chance.
They had what's the word for it? They didn't even think about stopping or using the brakes. So you were their brakes in the corner.
They went straight for Ferrandis on the dude.
Yeah, just straight plow through, send you off, and that's like an immediate. You let the guy by. Rubbing's racing. You get side by side. You make contact with them in a corner. You guys are both tilted. You know, going in like how Chris. Like you ever watch how Chris and I drive? That's how we do it. Rubbing's racing with us. But if we end up hitting each other, and I hit Chris in that one race, plenty of times where I was trying to pass him. It wasn't anything that I was trying to do on purpose. I was just trying to get in there. But Chris would flip over or send him off his line, and I would wait. All the while, you know, what's his face is getting further away from me, but that's my fault. That's my fault for hitting Chris. So I have to wait and let him get back over and then continue on my way. Chris knows that I didn't mean to do it on purpose. You know, when you get at that speed and you're trying to pass him, you know, then sometimes those things happen.
Yeah. And we've raced long enough together where, you know, we know what's intentional and what's not intentional. Because like in practice, we might go out and literally dump each other just because it's funny.
Yeah.
But you'd never see it in a race.
There's even been times where I've tagged Chris and got him a little bit off, and then he's like, dude, you should have just went. That wasn't your fault. And I'm like, well, dude, I didn't, you know, you always err on the side of caution if it's one of those things where like, okay, it could have gone that way. And that's just racing. You don't want to be hitting anybody. And if you do flip them over, if you do plow through them, you stop. And even if you got to wait until your last place, you stop and wait for them to flip back over, get on their way again, and then you continue on your way because it's your fault that you hit them.
Yeah, because you don't want to get the reputation of that guy that just drives through people.
Yeah, the hack.
Because what'll happen is it's like any racer. They'll say, "Oh yeah, my bad." They forgive you at the moment, but racers never forget. Right? We've all heard that saying. Racers will forgive, but they never forget, and they'll pay you back at a very inopportune time. You know, it does happen. So you know it's one of those things you just don't want to be that guy. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, Cody Wayne here. I think this was at Good Old Boys. I've been 3 wide with Matt and Josh, and it was and that was a lot of fun. I can't say that word, Cody, but the last couple races I've had issues of being hacked by others. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a lot of driver etiquette. It's a lot of teaching these guys because a lot of fifth scale guys are newer to racing. So, and a lot of it is on the track announcer as well and calling stuff because if these guys don't police themselves, then you need a policeman, you know, to be saying, okay, and kind of watching and having, 360 view out there of what's going on and watching the battles and calling stuff, because I know even with Jason Moorhead here, Jason was really good at last race at Fear Farm, where he actually waited. I saw him wait, and Jason was super, super nice. But I saw some other guys in like the beginner class where they were plowing through guys. I had to go down and tell the announcer, hey, that guy needs to do a stop and go. Because when I was filming, I saw some stuff and I was like, that wasn't kosher. So I was like the policeman out there. And then you also have to tell your announcer, or the announcer has to know, hey, they need to start calling this stuff. So Jason, and what ended up with Jason played super nice. He was way nicer than he should have been, but he ended up winning the race because he was real consistent. He did it. There was a lot of driver courtesy out there from Jason, but some other drivers that were in that particular race, they got called on and had to do stop and goes and stuff like that for guys to get back by, because they impeded somebody else's race line, or they hit them, or they flipped them over. You cannot do that. That can't be done, because you were going way too fast, and you knew that going in, because all of us are in control. No, hopefully all of us are in control of our cars.
Yeah, using the guide to turn is usually not the dialed race line. So
yeah. So yeah, guys. Main thing is like at all the mod races, we will be calling for traffic. We will be calling rough driving, everything like that. Our announcers know that, and it will be called. So that should be done at every race, and I think that it's not done enough, especially in in all the races, because a lot of guys, I would say, in the pro class, like all of us know each other, like myself, Chris, Jake McCarthy, Brent Bigby, Kevin Enriquez, Sullivan. Sullivan and I, me and him have knockout, drag out races, and me and him race really, really clean together. We're really clean. He hits me, I hit him, we wait. Same Chris. That's why I couldn't pass Chris at the last Fear Farm. You guys go and look at that race. Chris had to flip over for me to pass him, because I must have hit Chris about 7 times, flipped him over, spun him around, caught his bumper, just because I was trying to get on that inside line and he wasn't giving it to me. But I couldn't pass him clean, so I waited every time that happened. Both of us were laughing up there because you're like, you son of a gun. I'm like, I won't let you pass me. And he was like 7 feet wide on a 6-foot lane. Outside the pipe when I was, just to block me. Chris was everywhere.
And then when he would get by me, he'd crash. That was great. He let me back by.
Let me see here. Mike Duncan, what's your feeling on if you're on the guy's butt and he gets a little squirrely in front of you and lets out of the gas and you had to push him or anything? How do you take that? Mike, in that, even if you spin him around, like if it's really, really bad, then I could say okay. But generally, the rule is you should totally be playing defense with them. And if you end up pushing them around, you kind of have to wait. That's my thoughts on it. If they're atrociously spinning around because it's just after a crash and something like that, then yeah, it's not your fault. They were already way off kilter and everything. But if they're spinning, you should be letting off too, so you don't plow through them, because the main thing is you could get caught up with them too. So you might get tangled up with the guy and cause yourself more time. So the main thing is you want to try and pass the guy clean.
I mean, like, to me, if you bump drafted the guy down the straightaway, I'm generally okay with that, as long, like you said, as long as you don't turn him.
Yes.
If he brake checks you on the straightaway, that that
it's a
usually
gray area. It's a real gray area. But like you said, like for instance, for myself, like when Chris was spinning, Chris was a little bit loose, and I tagged him, and I still waited. And like, I was loose. That was fair. But at the time, sometimes you don't know that. I don't want to take that as the truth right off, or I don't want to take that as that's how it happened, because my eyes might see something differently than his eyes, and then there could be like, oh, Matt hacked me or something like that, and I could be on the other side. No, I didn't, man. You were way loose. So I would rather just let him back by again, and then we continue to battle, because if he's already loose, if he's already doing that, I'm faster. I know I'm faster. So you just have to stay on him, make your move or push him into a mistake. Let him do that again. And then if he's like at like a 90 degree, like if he's really spinned out, like if he's really, there's no correcting it and you tag him, then okay. But if he's a little bit loose, then
if I'm already if the guy's already crashing, like
if he's already crashing or he's already at a 90, there's no letting off and bringing it back, then okay, then granted. But if he's like a little bit off and he's kind of drifting a little bit and you come up, you're like, haha, later, dude. And you go right through him, you're like, oh man, you were way loose. He was like, dude. So I don't really agree with that of if you end up hagging him. So.
I like John, stop wrecking people, Duncan.
Yeah. Duncan in every corner. That guy was just a little bit loose, man. He was a little bit loose. I don't know
what happened.
I don't know what happened, man. You were loose out there. I thought you were loose. Duncan's like, later, dude. He uses that 30 north body to his advantage. He's like, I got bumpers in a 30 north body for a reason. Sending you.
Full send.
Full send. Full send. You were loose.
Yeah.
Love you, Mike. Don't hate me. Hopefully you come to Bakersfield.
Like I said, he's just going to be like, I know what your truck looks like. I know what your truck looks like.
Yeah. Comes over. For some reason, the rear end blows out on my truck, and Duncan had his tools with him. He's like, what now, Matt? Your real car. He'll just sabotage my shit. You'll never go to another race, Matt Olson. It's like, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Oh, man. Well, it's been so good, guys, to be able to talk to everybody. So you guys ponder as well. We're going to be doing another live. It seems like everybody is way on board with the new setup. And this is not going to be instituted at all for this series this year. I talked about it with some guys. They're like, dude, don't do it this year. People won't even know what to do with themselves. I was thinking of something special to do. I'm not going to do it. So
I'm just going to make my own numbers with my name on them.
Yeah. Where would I actually, so kind of guys start looking at that. I think it's really going to help in general what we're doing with our series, with our club racing, with big races, everything. I think this can be spread across everywhere and really put people where they belong. And since one of the big things with these races, from what I'm seeing, is there's like maybe 6 or 7 guys that are traveling to every one of them. Maybe. All the other ones are within their own little cells. There's a NorCal cell. There's a Bakersfield cell. There's Flier Farm, Arizona cell. There's some SoCal guys. And some of them will kind of travel to the other ones, but not to all of them. So we never know what skill level we're going to get. We never know how many people we're going to get. And there's like 4 dudes in a class, so we got to fix that. We have to do that for the community.
Cody wants a number.
Let me see. I would do numbers for based on this year still. Just my 2 cents. Yeah, Cody, it's something that we can do. I need to talk to Jim about it, see what's going on, and see if we can make something happen.
Yeah.
And then Jason Moore had great work, guys. See you at GOB. Thank you, Jason. Hope to see you out there, buddy. Jason is one of our beginners. He's doing well. I think he's got like a 2nd and a 1st right now, but well attributed. He's always kind of battling out the entire time. So Jason's a good example of where
he threw down last time at Flier Farm with no practice and no qualifying. He showed up on Sunday.
I know he showed up, but he battled it out. Like Peter Kassin had it. A lot of those guys had it, and they all gave it up. Jason was just like, it wasn't that he was the fastest guy. He was just the most consistent.
Yeah, rubber side down.
When will your clutch be back in stock? Caesar, it should be back in about, I'm hoping about 2 to 3 weeks. I know the shoes are on the machines right now at MIP, and the carrier should be on there soon, and then getting the pins pressed in. We should be good about 2 to 3 weeks. But current points leader should have a streamer tied to the bumper. Yeah, you know where to go for.
I'm going to tie a helium balloon on it so we can see it going around the track.
Yeah, right. Exactly. See it just traveling around. Jesus. The little rope or whatever it is, the string gets tied up in the drivetrain. Ah! Okay.
Yeah, you can, Cody. You can show up on Sunday and throw down in the mains.
Yes, you can, Cody. You can show up on Sunday, and there will be practice in the morning too. So should be good. So yeah, guys, we will be racing at Bakersfield. Super awesome track. At Bakersfield come July 17th to the 19th. We will do a variation again. We'll be running both practice for 5th scale and 8th scale on Fridays. We can run a little bit later into the day. We'll have lights out there at at Bakersfield. And then on Saturday, we will run a hybrid thing. I don't know how many 8th scale guys are going to get out there because they don't have a huge 8th scale crowd that's down there, but we might draw some Bakersfield guys in that have rigs and then be a part of the group. So, but we'll run 8th scale will be ran as a one-day thing just on Saturday. So, Cody, if you want to come down to also run your 8th scale, you can get down there to run 8th scale as well on Saturday. They will have 2 qualifiers and a main, and it'll alternate. It worked out really good at Delta. We ended up running 5th scale, then 8th scale, 5th scale, then 8th scale, 5th scale third qual, and then 8th scale main events. That ended up really nice because then we had the mains at the end for the 8th scale guys. We had enough time that we didn't have at Flier Farm, which is the mistake I made, but you learn. Or we should have ran the 5th scale guys first, then the 8th scale guys. And then on Sunday, we have all the main events for the 5th scale, and we're able to take a little bit more time so we get everybody out there to run. That's kind of one of the things that I try and do, and something we don't do for a lot of the races in the other scales. So where they don't take time, and a lot of guys spend a lot of money, a lot of time, and I only hope we can take 2-3 minutes if we ever need to change out an arm or a pull start or something like that to make sure that guys are running. Because I know a lot of us spend a lot of time and money out there. So let me see. I might be able to get a group of 1/8 scales out there. Yeah, that'd be great, Cody, if you can. We'll just be running Saturday. They don't have to do a 2-day event. All the 5th scale guys are used to the 2-day, and we're used to camping out and doing everything. So I think that would be really cool if we can get some guys out there. I'll start to promote it to all the Bakersfield crew. RC Carmine. Hey, guys, it was great listening to you guys tonight. We will miss you in Canada. Matt, I'll contact you for parts from Canada. Thank you, RC Carmine. Yeah, hit me up if you need any goodies. I've got them all. And, yeah, I know Chris. I know myself. We wanted to make it up to Canada this year. COVID gave us the middle finger and said, no, you guys will not be traveling anywhere. And I think Canada gave us the middle finger and the U.S. because I don't even think Americans can go in there without like a work visa or something like that. Like they totally shut down the borders for us. They said, none of you guys, we don't like you Americans. Don't come in here. Stay home. So
yeah, they shut down all the international travel.
Yeah, there's nothing happening. They ain't going nowhere.
And
I think on some of them, Chris, if you're traveling in between like California and New York, I think they quarantine you or something like that now.
Any place that's got a rising coronavirus rate or whatever, so like Florida, California, a lot of those places, they were either limiting travel or trying to quarantine people, or because of the number of cases and how they're increasing. Like, and international travel, they pretty much shut down anybody. I mean, a lot of it's been shut down already, but it's worse now where they're just saying, okay, you're in an area that's got increasing rates. You're not allowed to come in. We're not going to let you into the country. Yeah, exactly. Nah, it's unfortunate, but hopefully all this passes soon, and we're looking forward to getting back on the road. I know both Chris might be going with me to Iowa. We'll be seeing here, and we'll have to do some talks. Well, it'll be the other thing too. We sit there, and even if we don't drive together, if you can tag team it and go, I'm trying to suck Enriquez and Bisbee and go, and then we can put my trailer behind Enriquez motorhome. There we go. Well, we might figure out something. Yeah. Might figure out something. So anyways, guys, I think we'll kind of end it here. Had a really good grouping. We've been talking to you guys for a little over 2 hours here, so it's kind of been crazy.
But really good stream, guys. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you for Chris Higa from Horizon and TLR for coming on, giving some much needed sounding board to sound off of, give us some really good ideas here. I think it's something to move forward for 2021. We should have it ironed out. We'll try this new method at some of these upcoming club races and or bigger races if we can. I know Randall Morrow and Bob Garber over in Arizona might be able to facilitate with something like that. So we'll see if something like that's possible. We don't want to screw up anything, but we want to make sure that we test and prove this thing so that moving into 2021, we can probably do something different that'll help out our community 100% and the viewership and everything so that we get these packed classes where we can actually have guys that are in the classes that they should belong. So I think it's something that we're onto here. I think it'll be really cool. Most definitely, we have 4th of July coming up. I don't think I'll be live before then. So happy 4th of July and Independence Day to America. And so be safe out there on the 4th of July. And hopefully everybody's safe and you guys have a good time having almost that turkey dinner. Hopefully people are still doing that these days if we can get together at all. But anyways, boys, we'll talk to you soon. If you guys have any questions, concerns, or anything, definitely hit me up on Mod or my personal Facebook page. If you're not my friend on there, I probably won't see the message, so send it on the Mod one then. Make sure you're in Bakersfield. Go to Bakersfield, get your 8 scales out, get your 5th scales out. Be there. I'll be creating an event page here probably within the next 10 minutes. So you guys can jump on there. RSVP that you're going, jump on to modspeedshop.com. I have all of the races on there with the classes and everything. I think I might need to update the 8 scale stuff on there. So that's actually on my to-do list. So RSVP, we'll get that going. We'll see you guys in about 3 weeks' time, and we will be covering it with Mod Live Media with that dialed camera focusing in. We'll have Mike Duncan on the cam, hopefully, maybe even Chris Higa on the cam, having these people help us out and get awesome coverage for 5th scale and for the world. So we'll see you guys soon. Thank you again, Chris. Any lasting words for these guys?
No, like I said, happy 4th to everybody. Be safe. Have a good time. And we'll hope to see you guys in a few weeks up in Bakersfield.
Yeah, most definitely, guys. So we will see you soon. Be blessed. God bless. Be safe. And we'll talk to you guys soon and RSVP to these things so we know who's coming. We can get you in the computer. And we can have a dialed race time out at Bakersfield RC Raceway. Good old boys. See you guys in a couple weeks. Bye-bye.